Hello, we're going to walk through creating a ride. So to do so, click on your name and click on Create Rides. And this will open the Create and Manage Rides page. Now, before we get into creating a ride, let me just point out some of these filters. This test account has a lot of rides. You can filter them on ones that are published or unpublished, if you like. And ride flags, these are from users or members of the club who's flagged a ride for some reason. Maybe the bridge is out or something needs corrected. You can flag these for open flags. That's helpful. Now, when you submit a ride to be published, it goes to the ride coordinator and you can click Publish Requested. At this point, they have none. So you can see the rides that are waiting for ride coordinator approval. And another really helpful filter is those rides where you have pending volunteer leaders. So you can go in here and you can open up the ride, go to your participant management page. You can see who the leaders are and the volunteer leaders, and you can approve them so they become leaders if you like, or remove them. Okay, so back to creating a ride. What we're going to do is we're going to click on the Create a Ride button, and the first thing it asks us is what type of ride. We have three choices. For this example, let's choose a road ride. And let me point out just a couple of highlights here. There's a title, there's a summary, and this is a rich text editor. And anytime you see a rich text editor, it will make a resource card, which we'll talk about in a second. And you can add links to these things. If you highlight text and click on the link icon, you can type in a URL and that'll link to another web page. You can add photos, multiple photos if you want to, into the rich text editor. So it really gives you a lot of flexibility. Let me just cover some highlights. So the date has to be a date in the future. Start time, you can just type it in directly if you like. And the end time, this is something new. This is your best estimate of when the ride will end. For example, if there's a train coming back to the city, choose when you expect to arrive at the train station. It's just a rough guess. It helps club members add the ride to their calendar, and we'll look at that in a second. But let me type in 4 o'clock. Now another alternative is you can drag the handles to set a time, if you prefer that, or you can type it in. Either way, if you hit enter, it will take you to the bottom and you'll have to click on the submitting this form button and then click create the ride. And it will show you anything that's missing. At this point, we have a lot missing. So let me come back up here. Start location. Here's a nice feature we have for you where we have a list of common start locations. You can pick one. It'll fill out the name, the Google Map link, and a description. And you can modify any of this. If your entry for your start location is a new start location, just type in the name of what it actually is and provide your own Google Map link and whatever description you want. So you're not limited to the locations in the dropdown. Speed, you have to choose one speed. For laps, it will be lap time, not speed, with the recent speed limit controversy in Central Park. Again, just highlights for drop or for paceline rotation. Non-rotating is common for many rides where there's usually just a leader in the front and a sweep in the back, and the line doesn't rotate. Single rotation, the line's rotating in one line or double line or continuously as in circular rotation. Other is great for things like Harlem Hill repeats, where there is no real structure there. All right, more highlights. A route link. If you paste a ride with GPS route, it will automatically look up the miles and elevation and unpaved percentage. It'll even pull in the description, but you can type whatever you want in here as well. Registration. Share how many people you want on the ride and how many leaders will be on the ride. Here's a nice box. If right now When you create the ride, you are a ride organizer. Check this box if you also want to be the ride leader. Ride leaders are now the people who are physically pedaling on the ride to lead the group. The ride organizer is just dealing with the computer stuff. Now, if you have a train, you can choose your outbound train service. There's a whole bunch of choices here. Same choices for returning train service. And whatever you type in here will turn into a resource card, and we'll look at that in a second. And you also have resource cards where you can add whatever you want, like lunch stop, and you can add all sorts of information to help the participants understand what's coming up on the ride. You can even choose a fancy image for your resource cards, and you can choose up to 5 of them. Now, when you're done, you'll click on Create Road Ride, and it will tell you, if it doesn't pass, it'll tell you what's missing, and just keep going through that until it does pass. So let me connect something for us here. Let's go back to this Create Ride, because there's another way to create a ride. You can copy in this case, you can copy one of your upcoming rides to a new date. So I'm going to pick this ride to copy. I can do it here, or I can go into the ride to look at it and click duplicate. So I'm back in the editor, but now it's all filled out with that ride. So here's what I wanted to share with you. I'm in the editor, and if I look at, here's the ride listing. So here's the featured photo. Here's the summary. It's just a brief text summary. The description is here. It's a lot more detailed, and you can see that in the editor. Here's a short summary, text only, and here's the description. More things to point out. Start location, they added a photo and information. So if I look at start location, you can see how that manifests here. Next, here's a resource card for lunch stop. I'm going to scroll down to the lunch stop one. So for lunch stop, they have information with links and pictures. So if I try it, what will our participants see? They'll see the picture, they'll see the links, and this lets you share exactly what you need on your ride. Okay, when you're copying a ride, you definitely need to pick a new date. So you'll see everything's been copied over except the date. So I'm going to pick a new date. I'll pick August 1st. I can make any changes to this that I like. I'm not going to make any in this example. When I click this and I click create, it should pass, which it did. Second step is I can invite leaders to the ride. This is optional. If I don't invite any leaders, let's say I just talked to a few friends, they're going to get notified the ride's listed and they can volunteer to lead. And then I have to approve them. But if I want to invite them right away, I can type in a name and I can invite them as a leader. And that way, when this person goes into the ride, they'll see a button to lead the ride and they'll be instantly added as a leader. Now, once you're done, again, it's an optional step to invite leaders. But when you're done, when the ride looks good, you can request to publish the ride. And this will have one of the ride coordinators review it, and they will approve it. Once they approve it, it'll be published. It'll change status from unpublished to published, and it will appear on the Join Rides page for people to join. Pro tip, if you don't want anyone to volunteer for your ride as a leader, what you can do is you can invite the leaders that you want. Let's say I invited 2 leaders. When both of those leaders join as a leader, so I have a leader capacity of 2. When I have 2 leaders on the ride, then I can request to publish. And no one will ever be able to volunteer for the ride. So I did publish. It's telling me that the ride coordinator needs to approve this ride. And if I head over to my Create Rides and I click on Publish Requested, there's my ride. And once the ride coordinator approves it, it will show up on the Join Rides page, and people will be able to join the ride and or volunteer to lead it. So that's the outline of creating a ride. Now, in terms of copying a ride, we looked at copying rides from our upcoming rides. If you want to copy your rides in the past, go to the Copy Rides page. And these are all the rides that this person has organized in the past. If you want to copy someone else's ride, uncheck My Organized Rides. And these are rides from everyone in the club. So you can copy anyone's ride and modify it to make it your ride. So I hope you found that helpful.